This is Patrick Kane, director of Within Range. These are scenes I did with my brother Butch. He played Lucifer. He's the bad guy trying to run me down in an alley. Butch had just gotten a brand new Chevy Blazer at the time, and we beat that thing up. Pretty funny. We did some really crazy stuff, not very safe. We at one point you'll see a shot that's very shaky, and that's because my friend Mark Kajmark was on the roof of the Chevy Blazer, tied down with ropes, doing a POV shot where the truck is chasing me, trying to run me down. Needless to say, every time Butch slammed on the brakes, Mark kind of jolted forward and a little crazy, like I say. You know, different time. We had replica guns that we used for a lot of the scenes, but the one revolver that Mark carries was his actual .357 Magnum. And, you know, we weren't really worried about any police or anybody interfering because it was just a student film. So we thought, oh, no problem. There's the shot right there. You can see how shaky. We start from a stop and just go full bore. And yeah, I think we did a couple of these shots, and that was about it. It didn't look that great. Here's another shot from the back of the truck, Mark running at us. And here we go, giving Butch's brand new suspension a workout, trying to burn through a set of tires in a day. But he was great. He didn't mind. He thought it was a lot of fun, so he helped us out on this. We filmed it in about 3, maybe 4 weekends. Since we were all working, we just had weekends to shoot. And we got a lot of footage actually done. This was Mr. Miami Vice, Patrick Kane. Mark and I worked at a electronics warehouse called Requa Roby in Rochester, and we asked the owners if we could film after hours in the offices. They said, yeah, no problem. So I love that computer. That is quite the Apple wannabe on the desk. But anyways, we filmed these scenes in the office. They came out pretty good. Like I say, unfinished film. We filmed a lot, but there was a lot that we never even got to. And I think just because of time and money, we said, okay, this is not going to ever go anywhere. So we finished it up. I threw these reels, and again, this is Super 8mm film, Kodak film, and you can see scenes like this. Even though when we filmed it, there was a lot of light, the light meter was working properly because of the age of the film and the non-quality of Super 8 film at the time. You know, we get a lot of black areas, so it is what it is. You know, at least we got to preserve this. We thought this was fun. We got a hold of a wheelchair and we decided to do some quick dolly shots with this. So this is Mark and I, where we start to track down Butch and Joe's characters in the warehouse. Here we are, guns drawn, and we're going from point A to point B. And you'll see coming up, there's strange scenes where Mark is pointing his gun up to the ceiling, and then there's more scenes of a bunch of rocks and dust falling on the floor, and then a quick pan up to the ceiling. That was because Butch and Joe are doing an arms deal. There we go, up there, which again, you can't even see the hole in the floor. This was just an old abandoned warehouse. That actually later, now, if you go to Rochester, this building is beautiful apartments or condos. But the dirt on the floor, it was them doing the deal upstairs, and they kick some dust and debris, and it falls through the hole, and that's what alerts Mark that they are right up above us, one floor. But again, there's Mark's actual 357 Magnum. I thought that was pretty fun that we did that. You know, and again, if police ever rolled up, we'd probably have a lot of explaining to do. But even at that time, we could say this was a student film. And Mark actually had a license, still does, to carry a handgun legally in New York State. So probably wouldn't have been a problem. So here's more shots in the building. And again, just takes over and over, just trying to get something right or trying to fix a mistake that we did in a certain shot. It is pretty funny to see the fashion of 1988. Miami Vice was in full swing, probably in its last year. So that was the look. But I had my blazer with the sleeves rolled up and I think white Adidas. Pretty interesting. Okay, these scenes, kind of neat. Basically, Joe's character double crosses Butch and shoots him several times. Well, Butch falls. Joe checks his pulse on his wrists and takes off. Well, in this scene, Butch, being the ever clever bad guy, wears a very thin Kevlar vest and thick rubber around his wrist to hide his pulse. So here's Butch with the fake blood packs. He reveals that he's very sore, but he's okay. And he, looks painful, but he made it. Okay, so he survives and leaves the warehouse. There he is, taking off the rubber strap. Well, every single time, if I was in the shot, I would say, when the shot was over, I would say, cut, and did you get it? Did you get it? I would grill these guys. How did it look? Did it look okay? Now, of course, Super 8 camera, we didn't have video assist. We didn't know how the shot looked. Here's a perfect example. Look at this blurry shot. We filmed the whole thing and realized towards the end that the camera was set with the wrong focus. So this was fun. We did this in a local bar, and I want to say that either Butch or Joe's buddy, it might have been Mark's buddy, I don't know, but he was a bartender, worked at this bar, and it was really quiet that night, and we had planned a night that he was working that we would film, for a half an hour. But this is a scene where, after my partner gets killed, I'm, of course, the rough and tumble cop, drinking my problems away. So that was fun. We actually did this 2 or 3 times, and those were real shots of, I don't know if it was Jack Daniels, some kind of scotch, drinking a beer, but yeah. I guess we didn't think of using iced tea. Here's some outside shots. And again, they looked beautiful when we first did them, but because of the age, pretty rough. This is me getting the call with some exciting information. Here's another wheelchair shot that we used. I wanted to give it a little excitement instead of just being on a tripod. Get some movement in the camera. This was a co-worker, just worked in the warehouse with us, and we asked him to help us out. He put a gun on his hip and he became the police captain. Right here, giving me the case, some information. Here's where he gets the call, and watch, he'll yell, you'll see him yell, Kane. There we go. And Mark and I get the call, and we're out of there. And these are our stunt doubles coming right behind us. I owned an AK-47 at the time. It was legal, semi-automatic, but I thought, well, let's wrap this up in brown paper, put it in a box, and make it look like that's what they're buying is AK-47s. So we brought that up to the warehouse. You wouldn't want to do that today. Here are the boys, Butch and Joe, looking very young, very tough. All right, they're looking at piles and piles of weapons. They're ready to check them out. And again, you can see very dark footage. Joe grabbing one of the boxes. Here we go, cutting it open. I really do laugh at these scenes also. It's very well known in my family that Joe and Butch really don't like guns. And they try to act like they really knew what they were doing with this thing, but yeah. Coming up, there's this one a lot better. Butch came in really fast. You see a lot of the dust in the parking lot. Looked pretty good. I think I told both of them too. All right, guys, move a little faster. You're not meeting for coffee. You want to get this over with and do it fast. So go, go, go. And that is that's more warehouse footage there. The boys messing around. We always had a tendency to do that too. If you had an extra foot or two of film in the camera and you couldn't use it for a whole scene, you'd always do something funny. And this was good. So we needed an empty apartment. It was supposed to be Butch's apartment, and he leaves town pretty quick. So we found Mark and I lived in the same apartment building on Park Avenue in downtown Rochester. And we used to go up on the roof, hang out. We had the fire escape was up there, and going up to the roof, we noticed there was an empty apartment. So what did we do? We went in through the window, opened it up, and thought, hey, let's film here. We didn't believe in permits or asking permission. We just did it cinema verite. Here we go, busting into the room. You'll see me start to smile right here. I started cracking up. Guess I forgot my line, which is ironic because since this is a silent film, we didn't have lines. Here's the second take, looking a little more serious. These scenes were done for the very end of the film when Butch is killed. We get the bad guy. We're both very sad that my partner was killed, and we've gone through all this, but works out good at the end. Typical buddy cop film. So here's Mark and I in the middle of downtown with bottles of beer. And as we start to walk right here, I really like this shot. There was a hotel with a glass elevator right there. I believe it was a Sheraton. So we thought, hey, why not get somebody in the elevator? We'll walk across the bridge and we'll just hit the button to the top floor and we have an instant helicopter shot, or yeah, more helicopter than a crane shot, but it actually worked out really well. I think that looked good, but that was supposed to be right here, the very last shot of the film. Of course, we didn't count on stuff being on the glass of the elevator. You can see that floating by. But it looked good. We would have cut that out. There we go. Little fun haha. So that was Within Range. I'm glad you could all hang out and watch this with me, and hope you enjoyed it.